three topics that are going to arise in the talk. We will see what are the challenges that this pandemic has bring to education and how we have tried to overcome all the difficulties in this topic. This has two implications, and in my opinion, very important ones. One is how this pandemic has fostered remote experimentation, because we have lost a lot of fairs that we had before in this area. And also the future will go, and I think it will lead to the direction of more integration between tools and educational tools. So in my opinion, those are these three are the main topics that we will have to deal with in education. When I talk about challenges, what I mean are not only the first technological challenges that we have to deal with, but also some human factors that have bring this pandemic to us, because technology has become very complex, and we have to deal with a lot of fears and challenges related to education. We have, for example, first side on a technological challenge that is the creation of a big data in education, that, as it happens in real life with other big data that we are used to, maybe it brings some challenges and threats to the way we use our learning environments and our lifelong learning during all the period that we will be using it. That is the whole of our life. So in this sense, the same way that social networks get a track on our performance, maybe the way technology has our records stored and maybe not as private as we would like to, maybe that's a threat that we have to think about. I have another I read in the news, it was recently, that in China, some of the schools are implementing a new way of accessing schools, which is through cameras. So they have the technology of looking at you and open the door when you are logged, just say, when you are recognized by the camera. But also they use this technology, and it's becoming some way scary, to see if you are, because they have tried, I read in the news that they are trying to make some facial control on class. So they develop a software to see if you are bored in class, or you are, what is your attitude in a class. So if we apply this to childs, and maybe we are going too far into privacy. So let's see this as an example of how technology can be helpful in education, and can be also maybe a threat in the educational process. Of course, let's say that technology can be, and of course it is, a very good platform for motivation. So we have our platform at Never Tired to give you a feedback of how to improve your performance in education. So let's say that the technology is not the final step. So it's a tool that has to be used in a way that makes this motivation more useful for us. So this is what we have to offer to our students, not only kids, but also kids, in the sense that technology has a very powerful way to organize communities and make teamwork more effectively using tools, using educational tools. And this has been has to be another of the supports of education. So motivation as a key concept in technology. Another thing is to use technology as a useful tool. What do I mean? What I mean to say with this? We can think on some very complex technologies, but maybe are not as useful as they should be. This is a cartoon that was in late in the 70s in Spain, which is well known for inventing absurd things. So it's a kind of an inventor that brings brings the inventions to something that is absolutely useless instead of useful. So it's a way to illustrate that the tools have to be something that has to be seamlessly integrated in our way of learning and teaching. If it doesn't, we should think about that. We should think about how are we going to, how could we maybe rethink the process in order to make that tool useful, or maybe just forget about that tool. So if we are interfering in the way we are doing things in education, if effectiveness is compromised, let's rethink how these tools are used in our class. So the projection has gone a lot very far, you know, from the early 90s to now. We are thinking of 30 years of experience before internet and after this amazing development of the educational technology. And we have witnessed to all these useful properties. So we have more personalized, more on-demand education with achievement certifications. And this is something that we have to think in when we talk about the main achievements or the main consequences of suffering these last 2 years, a very shocking pandemic all around the world, in with the eyes of that we had a lot of road already done with this solution. So the one of the important things that we could say about the COVID era is that we have learned how to put all the pieces of the puzzle together more effectively, and using all these interesting achievement that we have get in these last 30 years of evolution of education. So we are really getting a more human use of technology in education. Okay, the other aspect that I mentioned in the first slide is how to make hybrid education between all the stakeholders involved, not only places but also people involved in the educational arena. Let's say we talk about hybridization when two ecosystems, let be technological or not, they hybrid themselves, so they use mechanisms in both ways. So let's say let's talk about the technological hybridization, and I have to apologize because I realized that I had some of them in Spanish, but I will translate them. The technological hybridization, we are talking about different worlds that merge and that work together in education. It's not new that we have been witnessing a lot of you know, some out of the world of education traditionally, in the sense of they didn't mean or intended to be for that, as virtual reality, for example. And we have witnessed how serious games, augmented reality, have come to be integrated and not something that looks artificial or external to our learning environments. So we have witnessed to this more effective personalization and more effective integration of these external tools, and how this hybridization of very diverse technologies has become a single, or they have been integrated in these LMSs or platforms. So one of the key consequences of the pandemic is that we have realized that we have to let's step forward in this integration. So one of the things that we have learned, and we will summarize that at the end, is that this integration has to be effective and has to be useful. So, well, the examples are these that I mentioned before. So how important are these new elements of education in visualizing and making explicit the content and the knowledge that the kids have to learn, and how useful can they be in class. So we are witnessing very immersive environment, very adaptive, very personalized. So it's a key component of the future of education. We will see a lot of these achievements. Maybe if the metaverse if the idea of metaverse doesn't fail as it did some years ago with the Second Life, for example, environment. So we will, if it really works, and we are technology is ready for adopting that, we will see wonderful things in this area. Another thing is to witness the tactile internet, which is the idea of being very precise with the use of our senses in internet. The consequence is that, or the main achievement that we can get from this, is that we can use it in real environments for surgery, for example, or for many other things. So it's very useful to be precise, and obviously 5G networks, which are the networks that will provide us a zero latency environment for communication, maybe can do this very effectively. So this is a promising thing, and it will grow very fast in the future as technology allows to do this to this converge. And the other idea is that academia has shifted the way we used to learn and to teach. We are coming from a very traditional universities with very fixed degrees, to a very flexible market where even companies, and I have to mention, for example, Telefónica, the telephony operator in Spain, the biggest in Spain, has launched the Telefónica 42 initiative, which is a university integrated in their location, in their place, with their own paths for learning, and without any requirement for joining the initiative. So that means that companies are overcoming universities, and companies have their own way of training their people, even from scratch, with no previous knowledge. So we should be a little worried about the evolution of the future of education if we don't react to these initiatives, being more flexible, and of course improving lifelong learning in our models. Another consequence of the pandemic, and maybe this is something that is not of course due to or motivated by this period of the COVID, but is that we still have very big gaps between different societies. So this is a a chart that I get from UNESCO and UNICEF, showing that there is a lot of ways of getting involved in education, and there is a lack. For example, I could say here in maybe Asia and Africa has some lacks in, I was about to do a here, which is online education has a tremendous lack of means and if, still in Africa and Asia in comparison with other continents. So we had to mention that this is not technology related, but it's important to see how an investment in technology can improve the effectiveness and can mitigate, of course, the problem that the pandemic has made to us. So, well, this is pretty much the same. It's a segregation of which are the more effective remote learning ways or channels, let's say, and we can see because this is some kind of a subjective perception, because we ask people which is the more effective way of thinking of remote learning, no? by different models. So let's say that between radio and online, there's some differences, and some people still trust on very old, on 20th century technology to get access to education. Maybe this investment in networks, in connectivity, and of course in computers can of course change this perception. So it's a way to think on how we have the perception of effectiveness. Okay, let's focus now on science. So the focus is that STEM education, not only for kids, but the education, the engineering education, technology education, how can deal with the problems, because we do have different problems that general education, and we have some solutions that have to be taken in addition to this traditional education, which doesn't need as much. I'm thinking about maybe history or law. They don't have as much need for experimentation as engineers have. So this is one of the most important elements, or the key component of engineering and maybe some other scientific topics. So the way we deal with this will be the way we will really get achievements and improvements in education. So if we cannot bring a laboratory to the people, let's get an online laboratory for them. So this is what we have been talking and working, and I will talk about that later in another presentation about the work on the laboratory standards that we did in TELUC and at UNED also. So effectiveness in STEM is related also with more active methodologies. This is not related with experimentation, but is related because teamwork and effective work has to be, teamwork and tools for getting this teamwork work has to be effective. And I talked in a previous slide about how to make tools not to be useless, but to be useful. Okay, this is a little example of what happened to our university, because we did during the pandemic, we tested a system for making exams online at UNED, and it was surprisingly mature for us, the technology, so we could have implemented that for and apply and to make exams during almost 2 years to more than 200,000 students. And we are a large university, and we have this number of students. And I have to say that it worked pretty well, except for the chart that you can see there, which is the bias between the previous era, between before the COVID and after the COVID, using online exams. Obviously, we detected a lot of students cheating in exams, and it's very difficult to maintain a really a trusted examination system if you're not on campus, if you're not at home. So you can see that grades uh, were going up. I mean, it's surprisingly up. It's not normal. Statistically, is not a, a good idea. I mean, to use this system, but it worked pretty well, and I have to say that UNED made a great effort in this, and I would be interested also in see how other institutions deal with this problem. Okay, the other kind of experimentation that I was talking is to integrate education in everywhere. I put this slide, but I have to say that I directed a PhD of a student that made a very good work on how to turn Moodle courses into EPUB format courses, maintaining as much as possible the integration of the reactions of the students. So all the interactive parts that could be integrated in the ebook were integrated, and we had to say that we keep the assessments. So we could talk to a repository of XAPI statements, and we could at least track and have the activity of the student in the ebook using a generic EPUB format in any ebook reader. So that was interesting to see. This is another project that I had to mention related to the creation of content, which was applied to the creation of chemical experimentation. So we work on this to see how could we formalize educational content, how to integrate in different platforms. And it was really an interesting thing to do, despite at this time, for example, because this was some years ago, standardization and especially learning design approaches are not as popular as before. But I have to say that I think they will become interesting in the future, because it's also always important to provide teachers with a good way to express and the creation of content. Well, this is also interesting to see how content has been evolving from a simple aggregation of learning objects to a very complex formats and very complex initiatives and standards that are around the standardization field in educational technology. So it's also a call for maybe more research in this area, which I think is interesting, especially educational modeling languages. Okay, let's focus now on the work that we have been ongoing these years related to the online laboratories from the early times of simple call for participation that was made by Professor Hamadou to the actually the creation of the standard. One of the periods that I spent in Teluk University was dedicated to the we work on the creation of a model for the laboratories as a learning object, and with some elements that were integrated in them, both the educational part and the functional part. So all these layers, the functional and educational, were designed during these early years, in between 2015 to 2018 and 19, and finally it was balloted and approved in 2019, actually with very successful in the IEEE, because I put the picture of Hamadou getting an award from IEEE for the work done of this standard. So it was also important for all the members of the team that we were working on it. So it's interesting to see what I mentioned before. We have these two layers. We have the learning scenario, and we have the laboratory as a service. So we shape the laboratory integrated with the service architecture can be, for example, be in the cloud, as all the cloud-based software works currently in many systems. And we bring also the learning object model to the laboratory, integrating and adapting some other metadata to it. What are we doing now? What have we been working on this period in 2022? We have working on application profile and a conformity document for this standard. So it's a work in progress. We have started, and we have some work done on this area, and I hope we keep on this this in the future. Okay. Okay. This slide should have been before the work in progress talk. Okay, this is pretty much the same, with more elements, but pretty much the same as I mentioned before. So these two layers, important to see the difference between them and the different roles that these two layers play in the interchange of information, one regarding the educational information and the other one regarding the service and the function of the laboratory. So let's summarize the talk with some elements of this education 4.0, which I would say these are the main elements. Some related to effectiveness. I think we have reached a really mature level in education and in integration of elements. I think we really have very powerful immersive environments. So I think technology is mature to do very interesting things in this field, and we have to deal maybe with more human cost and human problems and cost of the initiative, and maybe also for that segment of people that has been away from the digital era, assuming that it's not as, I think it's not as big as some people say, but this is important also, and important to have digital literacy and bring this digital literacy to them in order to make them involved in or maybe to get them get involved in this digital education. Also, the integration, I think as now education, it doesn't happen necessarily inside the LMS. Education happens everywhere, and with every object, we can integrate even the Internet of Things into education. This is pretty much the idea of XAPI when they track the activity of a learner. So the idea is to bring out all the interactions from the LMS. Maybe the LMS is only an aggregator of this information, but this learning process happens everywhere and every time. So we need to integrate it. And maybe the idea is to I mean, the main goal is to be effective, and let's say, let's put the pieces together to make this happen. So performance, avoid the cultural gap. I mentioned before that there's some social cultural gaps in undeveloped countries. So that's important to fix. And that education is something that happens anytime, anywhere. So we need to have activity tracking in more places than in the LMS. So there are more things to come. I think these virtual worlds that have where our kids play with, for example, Roblox or some other elements of the metaverse will be more and more integrated in our life and in our education. We will be more in the immersive education than in our desktop traditional education. There's some, I mean, there are many technical reports. That one I mentioned in the slide, which is from McKinsey, how to create value in the metaverse. So everything and it's a playground for integrating business and education in this new era of the virtual reality and the metaverse that is about to come. So I will summarize with this. Some other ideas is important to trust on online learning. We have learned from the COVID. Online is important, and these 2 years we have learned to don't be scared about online learning. Many activities have been done with this technology, and it's important to keep on. Now that we have the approval of the people, they are not afraid. Let's use it more and more with immersive environments, and also to taking care of privacy and security, because it's an important role in the educational environments. So we will see more adaptation in the future. We will see how technology integrates with us. We will see how artificial intelligence and data have a better knowledge of us. And we will see how platforms are more integrated and we bring pieces together in education. And finally, some things are to come, maybe more automatic authoring, more artificial intelligence to search and integrate and maybe aggregate elements for education. Educational resources are not only learning objects, maybe can be discovered in more places than in a learning object repository. So we are moving to a world in which we maybe will not need to label everything as educational. So maybe artificial intelligence will bring this to us. This is related with some more smart repositories. So maybe this is smart aggregation is important. And of course, the immersive education and virtual worlds will bring this education of the future. And okay, and this is it. I'm ready if anyone in the room at this moment.
Thank you very much for this great presentation. We really appreciated this presentation that is presenting all the challenges and lessons learned from our post-COVID. You brought all the challenges we faced. Those who are in distance education, like Teluk, since 50 years, also got many challenges about changing. And the changing that COVID era brought. And I'm happy that you made a good synthesis about education, what is education 4.0 and how it can be, it can change the way we are delivering courses in online or hybrid mode. So I don't want to go for very far in my my synthesis, but I would let other in the group, in the those who attended today, to let us know about what is important for them and what they learn and how we can progress. This presentation is like the first one in this series, and we hope that it will be great for us to work. Thank you for also Spain Education Society, IEEE Education Society chapter, and thank you also for coming, your contribution to all the work we are doing, including the online laboratory standard, where you were the vice chair for many years during the process. And we have also here in this meeting two other members of the working group of the standard that that were awarded, because the award was from the working group. You, and we have Natalia, and we have also Juan Lalinde from Colombia. So this presentation is really international, and we have also some people that said will come. They would like to be present today, but from Brazil and other countries. So thank you for all those who participated. Please do not forget to fill the registration form that in the link of the conference, so that we can make the statistic very easily. So the floor is yours to talk.
Okay, thank you very much, Hamadou, for your words. And I just want to say thank you for the support of TELUC and your support in these two visiting professor staying that I did there. And I think it was a pleasure for me just to share this work with you and all the team in the group. And if I don't know if is there any comment on any other question from the audience. If not, I don't know, just to say thank you again for all this. As you said, it was a very the standard actually for laboratory was a very work team, a teamwork in very hard during many years, and it was very also interesting to see how it was appreciated by IEEE. Okay, I think there's a question. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. And my question is about your concerns about how education it's not your word, but this is how I understand it, how the companies are becoming more influent, more involved in the education process. I'd like you to elaborate more on that, please.
Yes, what I focus was the initiative by Telefónica of Spain in creating their own academy for high-skilled technology people that they are hiring those people after the training. Okay. What makes me think the role of universities, if we are missing something in training high-skilled technological skills to people, and if we are doing that as effectively and as quick as the market demands. The sense is, my feeling is that they are opening something that maybe it grows in the future, and we should be not we don't need to be fair about that, but we need to think on how are we doing our syllabus of the different degrees that we offer, and if we are adapting to the changes of of technology in terms of being and reacting to these changes, quick changes in technology. I could say about programming or telecommunications, and even education as educational technology. So it moves so fast that it's important to see how companies that they are very demanding of high-skilled people are doing some training by their own. So this should make us think and reshape our and diversify our degrees and our teaching in offering micro titles, micro degrees. I mean, something that adapts quickly to the needs of society.
Yes, yes. Because if we are looking in most of creative companies, big companies offer, formation, offer learning for the employees. So they are becoming the more and more powerful. So if I understand you correctly, so the university field should be more flexible in the way they offer their services.
Yeah, actually, the model they have in Telefonica is that it's totally free. It's a 2 years training, so we are not talking about a course of 1 month. So they offer a first kind of entrance test, which is actually just to see if you are ready for all the learning that you are going to acquire in terms of being quick. I mean, your reasoning is quick enough. So as long as you are proved to be some person that understands what is going on in technology and in the world, you can enter. And you don't need to be skilled in mathematics or in programming or in anything at all. You can be a degree in Roman history, and you enter there, and they will prepare you. And
Wow.
I don't know the insights of the training, but they are getting people very skilled in many topics, especially in programming and security, cybersecurity, ethical hacking. I mean, they cover all the topics that are highly demanded, and they are doing this. I don't have the analytics or the results of the outcomes. If they are losing money with this, if they are, of course, it's costly. And the other thing is that it's peer-to-peer education. So they don't have teachers in class. They only have coordinators. So the teams are at their own, and they learn quickly. The people that have been experiencing that say that they are not, they are involved. It's kind of a whole day experience. Let's say it's not topic by topic classes and things like this. So it's another model. We should think about these kind of models, at least to integrate them in our processes.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. And
Thank you.
one thing also that is being done is the MOOCs and also what we call MOODs for laboratories. So if there is other questions, that will be great. One of the challenges was security. And that is why also under IEEE Education Society sponsorship, we started also another standard called Secure and Trusted Learning Systems. Yeah. So the COVID era shows us also that security is one thing that is very important, and trustability of learning environment. And you also said that all the learning occurs not only through LMSs, but through many media. So that is important also, that what you presented. And what is the coming also is the metaverse that you said. the metaverse and AI era. So that is being experimented with what is they call also these digital twins. So that is just a comment. But I would like to know more about the challenges, including the one you talk from other. You talk about cheating, exams. This was challenging for all the universities and educational institutions.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, privacy and security is becoming a topic for every user of internet, and educational area is not out of that problems. I mean, so I agree. I totally agree, and it was very useful to see how our university could react and how people also make bad use of that. So we have to analyze the experiences, because we can learn from not failures, because it's not a failure, but it's a misuse. They are using wrongly, or it's not a well use of technology. So let's learn from all these things. So thank you for the comment. Yes.
Still listening, waiting for some questions. That will be very great, because we will pursue our collaboration and make use of this presentation that will be useful. One thing that you mentioned also is about the EPUB, and also the using of XAPI that tracks the students and performances. So that will be great also to see how we can transform a Moodle course on a tablet using EPUB. That is also something interesting.
Yes, I also agree with you. There are many technologies that can be integrated, and the initiative of EPUB industry or consortium had a specifically format EPUB format for education. So I think they should, or maybe it would be interesting if they work more deeply on that, because we can extract a lot of feedback from the use of external technology and traditionally not related to education. But obviously, as I think I said in some of the slides that education will happen everywhere, and everywhere is in maybe absolutely any device that we could imagine can be turned something that can be used for learning. So maybe that's one of the future steps of the industries to be integrated with everything. I wouldn't say the whole Internet of Things, because that universe is very big, but maybe a subset of that will be very much related to education, as long as we can establish the mechanisms of communication and learning analytics, and extracting the learning analytics from them. EPUB and ebook readers are like a very straightforward example, because EPUB is limited, but it shows that you can, even with a very limited tool or device, you can extract information, you can be interactive. So from that we can extend it to many others. So I also agree, it's a very good example, and we have to work on that. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. We are reaching the end of the time. I'm very happy to congratulate you about your presentation. That is very interesting, and to all those who are here, you have Miguel's email address. You can chat with him later on by email or any ways. Miguel also is one of the member of IEEE Education Society Standard Committee member. So I'm very happy to have Miguel presenting us things. And I put also on the chat window the link for registration. Those who didn't register before entering today can also register, so that it will be easy for us to get the statistics or statistics of the attendees. And thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Hamadou. Thank you to Teluk University and to IEEE for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Okay. So if there is no other question, I will stop the presentation, and see you next for the next presentation. That will be also teaching photonics. That will be November, early November. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.